Okay. I'm super excited. I have a story for you.
I'm so glad I didn't have to do any laborious research this
Absolutely.
week because I was pretty terrible at it last week.
No, you did awesome.
Oh, yeah,
We just packed a lot in last week, I think.
It was too much. I was confusing 3 different things. And I lumped them all together.
We can
Shame
go back.
on me.
We can go back and we can explore those topics in a future podcast if you want. I guarantee you haven't heard of this story because it is bonkers bananas.
Oh, there's not much I haven't heard of, at least like familiar sounding names. So I'm fascinated to hear.
All right. Well, you let me know. I'm thinking you've never heard of it though. So I'm setting the scene for you.
Okay.
It's the afternoon of May 1973. And this takes place on the Isle of Wight. Have you heard of that island?
White Isle?
Or Isle?
Or it's called Isle of Wight?
Isle of Wight in the United
Sounds like
Kingdom.
I was going to say, it sounds like a UK because they always do the Isle of instead of just saying White Island. They make it sound so majestic.
You can call it White Island. It's the Island of Wight in the UK. It's in the British Isles, and it's like a resort town, kind of like, what's a resort town in America? Like on the East Coast.
Oh, like what's that one that's in Dirty Dancing?
I don't know, but that's
do you know
exactly
what I'm talking about?
Yes, that's exactly what this place was.
Oh, there's something I'll think of it and then I'll pop in later randomly with it. I forget what it's called right now. I'm sure people listening are like, I know exactly what that's called.
Type it in our Facebook because we need to know. All right, so it's a resort town named Sandown, and it's near an airport. There's an airport there.
Okay.
It's real small, very small town.
I would imagine.
It's also a little bit swampy in this field area by the airport.
Like boggy?
Like...
Is this part of Scotland or Northern Ireland or...
Boggy makes me think of fog. Maybe, I don't actually know what a bog is.
We'll get into bog people another time, but...
Yeah.
So boggy is like a swamp with peat moss and stuff.
I don't actually know. We can look up pictures,
okay.
But just wet. It's like a wet...
Sure. Like
plains.
the entire UK.
Right. Not a lot of trees. It's just like... All right. So this story headlined in the Bufora Journal. Do you know Bufora?
I've heard of that before. It's a scientific journal,
yes,
isn't it not?
Well, kind of. It's the British UFO Research Association.
Oh, super scientific. Okay.
But it was like the Research Association for UFOs and Weird Things in
That's
1973.
Cool. Oh,
and this
cool.
story headlined. So for it to be in a headline, there was the people from the Research Association interviewed everyone involved. Their stories corroborated each other.
Okay.
In order for it to make it in the journal.
All 8 people who live on White Island.
Right.
Okay.
This story is actually told by 2 children who had this experience.
What?
They were interviewed separately, like I said.
Okay.
But here's my question. So a lot of people write this story off as being made up by the children's imagination. It's very easy to be like, oh, they're kids. They made this up.
Sure.
But tell me about wild lies that you've had from kids, if you've had any.
This week, there was a youngster who had chicken nuggets coming out of his butt.
That's what he said?
Yep. Very seriously. Mrs. Smolko, there are chicken nuggets coming out of my butt. He says this as he's walking past me, going to buses. And I go, what? Chicken nuggets out of my butt. Like totally serious, no smile, no laugh. Kindergartner. That is kindergarten in a nutshell. Yeah. So it's usually something like, I went to Las Vegas, whatever you say or anybody else says, they have a me too for it.
Yes.
So so-and-so, my grandma died in Las Vegas. My grandma died yesterday too.
Right.
I have 4 dogs. I have 14 dogs.
It's my birthday. It's my birthday too.
Yeah. It was my mom's birthday. And it's like, no, it wasn't. What are you talking about?
Right.
They're just pathological at kindergarten age.
Yeah.
Little kids tend to be pretty pathological.
Yeah, but I feel like their lies are short. So
not a lot of detail.
Not a lot of detail.
Yeah.
Short lies. So you either have they lie to like get out of trouble. I didn't do it.
Right.
When you've seen
it was
them.
somebody.
Right.
So and so.
That's a short little lie to get out of trouble, or a short little lie for attention, like you just covered. So in my experience, those are the 2 kind of lies.
I agree.
That I've heard.
100%.
Like these kids are 7.
That.
So that's what makes me
weird.
think maybe there's something to this story, or maybe the parents planted this idea in them but they would have had to spend a lot of time on it because the story's pretty detailed.
And they separated the kids and interviewed them separately?
And their stories corroborated. Yep. So here's how it starts. The kids are out playing, and they hear a sound that's like an ambulance siren. They wander over a footbridge toward the sound, and this is where they encounter a human-like figure about a half a football field away.
Okay.
The figure is walking with a high knees hop.
Nope. I already detest this thing.
You're going to love it. The figure is 7 feet tall. It had a book in its hand that it dropped in the water and went fishing around, retrieved the book, and then it went into a little hut.
I have like chills. Look
You
at the
do
hair
have
on my
goosebumps.
arms. That is often my indication that something is legit. So my eyes will water, or
Oh
all the hair will
my.
all stand up on my arms, and that is, look at that.
I know, you have major
That is
goosebumps.
usually just my body going, there's something real to this.
I picked this story for you partly because I thought it would creep you out, and not to be
I'm
mean.
so
I love
excited.
you,
but the image in my head of this like loping,
Yeah.
high knees, 7 foot tall, creepy thing. It's very, as the kids would say, Slenderman. Slenderman
Yeah.
from Minecraft. That's what it's making me think of.
Okay.
Ugh.
7 feet tall, had a book, dropped it in the water, got it back. It went into a hut. It came back out. It pulled out a microphone and said into the microphone, "Hello, are you still there?" And this is what's going to freak you out.
No. Okay, what?
The children said it looked like a clown.
This creature looked like a clown?
Yes.
That is really bizarre. So, but I'm wondering, like, culturally, 1973, UK, tiny little island, what does a clown look like to them? Is it like more like a French mime?
That's a
Or
good
is it like an
question.
American bozo, red nose, big white face paint clown?
Well, I'm going to show you a picture in a minute. And you can
Oh,
describe
no,
it.
they drew it? Or they told it to like
Yeah,
someone
they
who drew it?
described it, and people
Oh.
at Bufora drew it.
Oh,
I'm going
God.
to show it to you in a minute.
Okay, and I'll never sleep again.
You'll never sleep again. It's
Fantastic.
not that scary.
It's worth it. Okay, it's worth it.
But I have a thought to interject. I looked up how many vocabulary words a child age 7 has.
Look at this literacy
I'm very
teacher.
nerdy. Yes, I'm a literacy teacher. They have about 3,000 vocabulary words on average. But in adults have 35,000 vocabulary words on average.
Whoa.
So these children are working with a limited way to express themselves.
So if they say clown,
What could it be? It could be
right, or microphone,
Right.
It's just they're using words that they know that approximate what they saw. at
Exactly.
least.
So what if the high knees hopping? What if this person had a disability, a physical disability, and
Sure.
that's how they described it? Or what if it was a vagrant, or he was funny, and that's how they came up with the word clown? But they don't have. Maybe they don't see a lot of homeless vagrant people in the area. I don't know.
Huh. But the fact too, they said it was a half of a football field, and I'm wondering American football or football, soccer. But so we're talking approximately, let's say 50 yards, quite a ways away.
Mm-hmm.
And they can estimate that it's 7 feet tall. They'll look at me and go, "I'm as tall as you are, Mrs. Smolko." And I'm like, well, no.
No.
5th grade you will be, buddy, by 5th grade.
So I'm going to tell you the whole story, but I think pieces of it are lost in that translation.
Okay, that makes sense. That's really good to think about.
Yeah. The creature seemed friendly and gentle. The kids didn't have any ooky feelings, so what do?
Did they go with it?
They approached it, yes, and went
okay.
with it. And I'm now going to show you some
Stranger
pictures.
danger.
This is what you've been excited about.
I'm going to see pictures right now.
I'm going to show you the pictures on Google.
Oh my God.
And I want you to
I'm actually really creeped out.
I want you to describe what you see to people. The first one is the pencil drawing that was on the Bufora cover.
Okay, it's very alien, kind of, a lot of green. There's a lot of green. So the kids must have talked about a lot of green. Martian-y little pointed things coming out of the top of its head, one on each side, kind of like we see in the 1950s like Martian movies. Those little boop, 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 boops sticking out of its head. A pointy head, almost like a cone-shaped hat. And then it has, yellow hat, green sweater. Definitely seems to have almost American clown-like makeup. Whiter face, triangular-shaped eyes, rosy red cheeks, and a big frowny or just bigger mouth. And it is wearing almost like a jester's kind of costume. So green top with some other colors, blue gloves, long legs, and the toes on a couple of these pictures. The feet are very almost like amphibian-like.
3 toes. 3 toes
Okay.
and 3 fingers on the hand.
Okay, so it's definitely about twice as tall as they are in one of the pictures. one of the drawings. It looks like something out of a 1920s, 1930s carnival or circus. Crazy tall. Could have been on stilts, maybe, if it were that kind of thing. But what's it doing out in a swamp?
It
Also, it's kind of like a Tin Man sort of vibe.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like anything that you've ever seen in your paranormal stories, right?
No, not in the
This
slightest.
is a one-off. This is an outlier. This is like I said, bonkers bananas. Did it scare you?
No, I'm intrigued. If I freaking ran into it in the real world myself, absolutely, I'd be crapping myself and punching it wherever I could reach.
For sure. That's why I love this story.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to tell it to you.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right. So the children asked what its name was, and he said, "I am all colors Sam." Okay. So I want to know, what do you think all colors Sam means? All colors.
So my first thought is it like a race thing? Like he just wants to make sure that they know that even though he is different from them, he doesn't perceive himself as different, like he represents all creatures everywhere in all time? Or is he like the mantis shrimp?
What's the mantis shrimp?
Mantis shrimp is like one of, I don't know how they know this except maybe counting cones and rods in their eyeballs, but apparently the mantis shrimp is a shrimp that can see a gajillion more colors, like 24 colors or something more beyond the visible light spectrum than humans can see.
Wow.
So like humans, we see our rainbow and then shades of those colors, right? Most of us. And then dogs can't see that many. They see fewer, so they see sort of shades of, apparently. I don't even know. This is not my own scientific research. I haven't asked my own dogs. I don't study dogs' eyeballs. But I think what I've heard is that they can only see some colors, not as many as humans, but that there are creatures who can see a lot more. So can this guy creatures see beyond the spectrum? But also, what a weird way to introduce yourself.
It is a weird way to introduce yourself.
We don't go like, I'm colorblind Bob.
I'm anxiety disorder Amanda.
I'm bossy Lindsay. So I don't know. It's weird. It's open to interpretation for sure.
I like your theory. I hadn't thought of that at all, with the different like colors spectrums that creatures could see. I didn't even think of that. My theory was colors represent feelings and emotions for us. So my thought was maybe Sam is trying to identify with humans by saying he's similar, by being like, I have all the I have all the feelings, I have all the emotions that you do. All colors Sam.
Okay, so blue representing sad, yellow like in Inside Out movie, yellow representing happy or joy, red angry. Okay. Also a strange way to introduce thyself. Like,
also remember, he's communicating partly through the book, like pointing at pictures and things, and then partly through his mouth slit that doesn't move. You love it. You love it.
No, but we use things like that with children. We use the pictorial input charts and little flip books and stuff so that they can point to, especially like our nonverbal autistic students, they can point to pictures to communicate what they want, what they need, what they're feeling. So I think it's a pretty cool like hitchhiker's guide that this thing brought with them. So bring this book.
Right.
And that combined with like charades and pointing at things will hopefully get your message across enough to communicate something. But
all right, his clothes were tattered and torn. The children asked why he was wearing ratty clothing, and he said that these were the only clothes he had. And this, it makes me think that he's like a vagrant or...
Sure.
And that the kids just have, I don't know. But the ratty clothes is what makes me think of that.
And what a strange thing if you were going to impersonate a human or try to blend. They're not doing a bang up job. I saw the pictures.
Right.
Like, this is a weird set of options to choose from to be like, this should do it. Let me grab this weird French Pierrot clown top and a Tin Man hat, and I'm going to paint my face like this, but let's make sure that my weird fingers and toes are on full display. No socks, shoes, or gloves.
Sam invited the kids into his hut. The kids called it a hut.
Oh boy.
It was metal, and it was larger on the inside than the outside. Kind of like the TARDIS is what that makes me think of.
Or the Harry Potter house or their tents when they go to the
Quidditch
matches and stuff.
Oh, I love that scene. Yes.
Yeah, very
yes.
cool. Very cool.
The kids described it, I love this word, as quaint.
Completely beyond repair. That's
Yeah.
what real estate agents mean by quaint.
Oh, quaint makes me think of like cottagecore. It had like little wooden furniture and it had wallpaper. That's my favorite part.
What?
Wallpaper with blue-green dial patterns.
Whatever that means.
That's quaint to me. I don't know.
Okay, wallpaper. It knows that it's got to, again, impersonate what would make these kids feel comfortable. It also is very Hansel and Gretel vibes right now.
Ooh, creepy.
Like
Yeah.
the witch's candy cottage, making them feel comfortable and then gonna totally cook them in its alien oven.
But you are afraid of clowns in general. Like you have
Absolutely.
a really negative. I don't have that.
Have you ever met a person who's like, I love clowns. I love clowns.
Yeah. Well, here's
You were a clown. What am I talking about?
I used to make my living as a clown and doing birthday parties and festivals and things.
I knew you, so it didn't creep me out, I guess.
Well, I didn't paint my face as much, so that's probably what.
And it was always a happy face when you did, like your pink costume.
I just had like a pink nose.
Yeah,
I never
rosy
painted a
cheeks.
fake smile on because that's
No.
creepy to me when you paint on
Agreed.
a fake smile. But at all the birthday parties and everything I did, I never met any kids who were afraid of me. It was only the adults. So I don't know what happens.
What happens to us
between adolescence and adulthood, but I guess you watch enough movies like Stephen King's It and it starts to creep
because
you
you
out.
don't watch those things as little. Well, and little kids are so awesome at suspending disbelief, which is why puppets work in Sesame
Yeah.
Street and all these magicians and things that they can pull one over on kids so much more easily because kids just naturally want to lean into their imagination.
Yes.
And they trust. They're more inherently trusting as long as they haven't had a trauma-filled life. And I think that's what makes them so awesome. That's what makes kids so awesome, but also so vulnerable.
Yeah,
and I think
you're
that's
right.
what bothers me about clowns is that it's something
They can prey on that vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can lure a kid in.
His demeanor was shy and friendly. All colors Sam told the children that it was afraid of humans and would not defend itself if it were attacked. He's a good clown.
Could be, but also weird thing to say to children unprovoked. When I hear I'm not going to defend myself, it almost feels like you don't have to defend yourself. Let your guard down because mine is.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's so fun telling you the story because you get a much more sinister vibe from it than I do.
I am inherently distrustful, mistrustful, whatever the thing is. What is that called at the beginning of a word? The prefix. I'm not the literacy teacher. For the record, that's Amanda. I will automatically sort of assume the worst about most people in situations.
I'd be interested to ask our viewers, like, we want to hear from you. We want you to, like, interact with us. So I'm interested to know, what do you think he is? Creepy? Gentle?
Just mysterious? A houseless, harmless, lonely person? Human? I would love, to know the various theories. And if you've ever heard this story before, too, where are you from and how in the heck did you hear about this?
Okay, so the kids asked Sam if he was human. He said no. They asked Sam if he was a ghost. He said, well, not really, but I am in an odd sort of way. And then they asked, what are you then? And he said, you know.
What?
You know.
No, that's why they're asking. They don't know. Oh, no. I am in an odd sort of way.
It's weird to me that after human, they would go to ghost and not robot, clown, alien. Like, so ghost, I guess because his skin was kind of white, but they said, are you a ghost? And then, depending on I don't know how his intonation was, but I think there's two ways that this could be. He could say, are you a ghost? He could say, well, not really, but I am in an odd sort of way. Okay. Or he could say, well, not really, but I am in an odd sort of way, meaning he's just odd. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure he has to spell that out for us. He's odd. That's pretty straightforward. It sounds very much like, well, I am in an odd sort of way. That's how they talk.
That is how they talk.
Still.
I am in an odd sort of way.
Yeah. And then, are you a ghost? Well, it is weird that would be their go-to before, like you said, before Alien.
This is the last part of the story, and this is the part that is the only creepy part to me.
They don't go with them, do they? Like, they don't go anywhere.
Well, they're in the hut
keep
with
going.
him. They're in the hut with him,
Okay. Where are their parents?
I don't know.
Is this at nighttime or daytime?
It's at daytime, middle of the day. And remember we said it was a resort town, like Dirty Dancing. So I'm picturing the parents laying on their
Drinking
chaise
and
lounge.
dancing with Patrick Swayze somewhere.
What a great life.
God dang.
Meanwhile, their kids
Rest
are
in peace.
in a hut with a quaint little hut with a all colors Sam.
Figures.
All right, here we go. Sam told the children that he ate berries and could drink water from the river after boiling it. And then he showed them how.
Nope.
Before eating a berry, he performed a conjuring trick.
He pulled the berry out of his butt? What do you mean? Conjuring means like you made something poof just appear out
That's
of nowhere.
right. Well, that's what the kids said. So
Okay.
It's some
British
kind of magic
kids.
trick. I used
All
to do magic tricks when I was clowning, right? I would do.
What would you call it? I'm going to conjure now. I'm doing
No,
some
I would never use
conjuring.
that word, but I'm also not British. So.
Right. Okay, fair. I got to remember that. Yep.
Okay. He placed the berry in his ear and thrust his head forward, which caused the berry to disappear and reappear in one of his eyes.
In his eye? And it came out of his eye? It went into his ear and out of his eye. He has a mouth. Why aren't we using the mouth?
It didn't come out of his eye. It's like rolling around inside it. I wish you guys could see
Like a
Lindsay's
slot machine?
face
Like
right
it's
now.
just like spitting in his eye?
Yeah.
Unnecessary. We had it down that you were odd, you told us. You also appeared out of nowhere with your high knees, hippity-scoppity, skippity stuff. And now we're putting berries in our ears and they're coming out of our eyes.
He thrust his head forward again, and this time the berry disappeared and reappeared in his mouth hole.
It's about time. Okay. So he eats berries, boils water to drink, and then wondering if it is an extraterrestrial, if the high knees hopping was an adjustment to gravity.
Yeah, I love that idea.
The gravity shift, the atmospheric shift.
That's why he's like, ooh, walking is weird. The microphone thing is very weird to me too.
And who are they talking to? Because he's
said,
like, test. Is this thing on? Hello? Is anybody there?
are you still there?
Who's on the other end of this thing? And why are we using a microphone?
I think he noticed the kids and he was saying it to, like, he noticed them. He went into his hut. He came back out with a microphone, and that's when he's like, are you still there? That's what I think.
Oh, shoot. Then maybe, because you talked about they're using their vocabulary. Maybe it wasn't a microphone. What else could it have been?
I don't
a
know.
megaphone?
I don't know.
One of those cheerleader pep rally things that they blow through that
Yeah.
makes it extra noisy.
A cigar on a snake? I have no
A
idea.
cigar on a snake?
I don't know.
What kind of shows are you going to?
He's a clown.
I don't know any clowns that have snakes or cigars.
That would make him scarier. He's walking around with a snake up to his mouth to talk.
Nope. The grape in the ear was weird enough.
It's a berry.
Berry, grape, whatever. I don't like this one at all.
Did you have an uncle or grandpa who would always do that thumb trick
Yes.
where they'd rip their thumb off?
I could do it. I do it to kids all the time. I do that and turning my eyelids inside out.
Oh my gosh.
Kids love it.
For the record, as a clown, I didn't do those things.
You will have their rapt attention immediately if you can turn your eyelids inside out.
Oh man. All right, so that's basically the whole story. The kids said goodbye to All Colors Sam and went back home and told their parents the story. And their parents went out to investigate, but the hut was not there.
Of course.
In the swamp.
Did the kids make it up? Was it all a ruse for parents' attention? Were they just using their imaginations? Did they?
Well, I don't think so, because the lie is too elaborate. I have never.
Right, which we talked about.
Yeah.
Kids don't do that. Kids keep it simple and keep it weird, but not that complex.
I do think it's possible the story could have been planted by an adult, but I think it would be a project. It would like take a lot of effort and a long time of saying the story over and over.
That's psychological abuse.
It is.
That's not cool.
It is.
Yeah, no. I think they definitely had an odd encounter with something. Somebody that presented themselves as different, as oftentimes houseless, homeless folks will, especially if there's any sort of drug affliction or mental illness that create symptoms that are like talking to oneself out loud or yelling, cursing, doing things like that, or acting oddly in the street, moving around strangely. A kid might interpret that. Kids, again, are so sweet, and they may think this person might need help, or let's find out if what's going on with this person and not presume any kind of danger or threat to themselves. It could have just been an odd person, but I think there's more to it. I think that it is definitely something extraterrestrial is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so out there. It's like an outlier, a one-off. Because
and the hut was gone when the parents went out?
The hut was gone, yeah.
Yeah, that's a spaceship. That's a UFO of some kind that it traveled in.
Or a tent, if it's someone who's like...
But with wallpaper? Who's wallpapering the inside of their tent with wooden furniture? You have to pack that in and out somehow.
Yeah. I really don't know.
Unless you're like Mrs. Weasley, you're not going to have all that stuff inside of a tent.
I can't make sense of the story, and I think that's one of the reasons I love it.
That's what's blowing my mind.
Right.
That I've never heard of it, and that it is so freaky weird. Bizarre. Just bizarre.
What I wish people could see your face as I was telling you the story, because there were moments where you looked like angry.
Angry? I think I'm just like baffled. Like, that might just be my RBF.
No, I mean creeped out angry. Like,
okay.
Like,
it is shocking. It is a shocking, weird story. And they interviewed these kids for this magazine article.
Separately.
This research association. Separately. So that's what you say. Like, their stories corroborated. They matched each other's stories. There's no way kids are going to get together in that short period of time at age 7 and be like, all right, let's get this down pat. We're going to write this out, memorize this, I'll memorize this, and then No,
I've never, 7-year-olds don't do that.
There's no coordinated effort like that. They can't play, like, Foursquare without arguing about the rules.
Right.
So there's no way they're going to pull something like that off.
Right. I mean, developmentally, like, we know a lot of 7-year-olds, they're just kind of coming out of that stage where they do side-by-side play, where they're not really playing together. And then they start playing together around this age, but they're not, like, making elaborate schemes and plans.
No, I don't buy the fact that the theory that they could have been in, what's that called? Collusion with one another.
Yeah.
These kids weren't colluding. Kids don't collude very well. They're pretty bad at it, actually.
And they maintained their story into their adulthood.
They've got to still be alive because they were 7 in 1973. So they're like 12 years older than I am. So just under 60.
Right.
And they kept telling the story throughout their lives?
Yes, but their identities were secret from the Bufora Journal because they were children, so they kept their identities secret. But the people who know them, they keep saying this has really happened to them.
Wow. How could you live the rest of your life knowing that something that bizarre is out there? I guess you just have to. It's your normal. Like, yep, there's something else out there we can't explain. I think a lot of us have experiences like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've had paranormal experiences that maybe we can touch on in a future episode, but
your life doesn't stop.
Your life doesn't stop. I actually don't even really think of them until moments like this when it comes up and it's like, oh, I did have the craziest thing happen. But
well, and it makes me think of like the Roswell event or different UFO events where people see something crazy. It gets covered up or it gets hush-hushed and they're totally gaslighted and or brainwashed into, nope, that didn't happen the way you think it did, that you didn't see anything. It was a weather balloon. It was not some mystery alloy from a spacecraft. Nope, you didn't see alien bodies. That didn't happen. And there are people multiple generations later who say, no, they did. They were in the military. They didn't say anything then, but later they did. And they saw alien bodies. They saw a wrecked spacecraft. That really happened. The government and military just covered it up. So that's a huge one. That one's been so thoroughly investigated, and yet it's still so mysterious. As is this one. I have no idea who what's his name? Sam the Clown?
Sam the Sandown Clown.
Sam the Sandown Man. Let's go with that.
All right. Well, I hope everybody liked the story, and I hope that you guys are like following us. We'd love to hear from you. We're starting to get going with social media, Instagram, Facebook.
Email.
Yeah.
You can email us any of your thoughts, story ideas, your own personal experiences at theparanormalclassroom@gmail.com. And you can find us on our socials the same way, The Paranormal Classroom. If you just Google that or look for it on Facebook or Instagram, there we are.
Yeah.
And you can also share it. If you like it, share it. Share it with your friends. Share links to the podcast, please. That would be awesome. And then we can get even more stories from more people and more ideas, which we'll keep talking about. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
Don't open the door.
Do not open the door. All right, bye.
Class dismissed.